...250 ethnic groups with different cultural upbringing.
In 2017, a CNN report cited Nigeria's stock market to be among the 5 top performing markets in the world. According to the report, the Nigerian All Share Index recorded growth only set in early 2008. It rallied to 43% at the close of the year. Since the beginning of the year, the Nigerian Stock Exchange has witnessed steady growth, with about 12% growth recorded so far. As of today, the Nigerian Stock Exchange (NSE) has continued to witness bullish strides, with the market capitalization hitting an all-time high of over 16 trillion naira. What is responsible for this surge? Can this be sustained? What impact does this have on the economy? These are some questions we shall be finding out in the course of Nigeria Today. We have experts joining us shortly. Take a look at the graphic figures of the market from 2014 to date. I am Segun Ojelade. Welcome back. We have in the studio Mr. Okudili Egu. He is the Vice President, Cowry Asset Management Limited here in Abuja. Welcome you to the program, Mr. Okudili.
It's my pleasure to be here.
Now, we'll be discussing the surge in Nigerian stocks. One will recall that in 2014, there was a major problem, major crisis in stocks, in the stock market in Nigeria. But by 2017, the story has changed. And today, we have netted over 16 trillion naira, Nigeria Stock Exchange. What actually happened?
Okay, basically, just after the elections in 2015, on that particular month that the president was elected, a lot of people had a lot of optimism. The market rose. We had a lot of market rally for sustained for more than 1 month. Then after that, we waited to see the direction of government, the principles of policy of government, and we had a long wait in getting the cabinet, getting the ministers in place, and having appointments in place, and there was no clear policy direction. And then we now begin to see policies that looked like command control, cash control. People were not sure of what the policy towards the economy was, because CBN first started by saying that if you had dollars, you can no longer pay it into your dollar account, and there was exchange control, so to say, and that created panic, uncertainty in the system, and that also witnessed unprecedented recession. And one thing we know is that in the capital market, foreign portfolio investors play a large part in our market, and for over a year, CBN tinkered with foreign exchange controls that created panic. Investors who had changed USD to Naira and had invested in Naira had difficulties repatriating their proceeds back to USD. Even the airlines, even anybody who had a need for FX had challenges. So that created panic. So there was flight to safety. So, and the recession also did not help matters. And drop in crude oil prices to an all-time low of $23 per barrel now gave an impression of an economy in crisis, and people were not sure where we are headed. The stock exchange basically is a barometer that reflects the underlying happenings in the economy. So we had an economy that was faced in all fronts with all challenges of drop in revenue. At some point in 2013, the federal government was earning as much as $2.3 billion monthly. Now, sometime in 2015, it dropped to about $500 million monthly. So when you compare $1 billion to $1 million earnings, and you see the government capacity was reduced, it couldn't fund most of its activities. FX was scarce. Foreign reserve had dropped to 23. Recession was in place. Disposable income in the hands of individuals was very minimal. Unemployment was high. People were losing jobs. That was what we faced in 2015, 2016. That naturally led to a drop of confidence in the economy. Foreign investors took a flight to safety. They were not sure they could repatriate their money.
What now happened in 2017?
2017, starting in February, CBN came and said, okay, fine, we are going to somewhat liberalize the foreign exchange market, and injected some form of liquidity into the market. And then in April, they introduced something like a floating environment, FX float environment, where it is not, the price is not determined by government, by fiat. The price is determined by demand and supply, by the market participants and operators. So we now had an FX window for investors, exporters window that was largely free floating, and that gave investors confidence. And we have seen that from that time, from April, there has been a gradual confidence in this economy, and investors started coming back. Aside from investors, the FX window giving investors, foreign investors confidence, the macroeconomic factor indicators also started improving. We came out of recession in third quarter. Price of crude oil started rising. Today we have hit $70 per barrel from $23 per barrel. Foreign reserve have grown from $23 billion to over $40 billion. So it's looking all rosy for the economy. And then investors are back, and like I said, stock exchange, the barometer of the economy, is reflecting those good indicators that we are seeing, and those good and the underlying factors.
So from what you have said now, the stock market reacts to the health of the economy.
Yes, it's a barometer of the economy.
So if this current good tidings in the economy is sustained, we are sure that the stock market has just started rising. It will continue to go on like that.
Yeah, it may not continue to see the sporadic ride or the volatile, bullish trend, but it will be sustained if the underlying factors, if the economy keeps improving, if the production volume of crude oil, and the price of crude oil keep increasing, and there's accretion to the foreign reserves, and foreign direct investment in the economy keep increasing, I see that market being sustained.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Some of these factors that you spoke about in 2017, for instance, were in place in 2008 when there was a major crash in stocks in this country. Can you compare the two eras?
Okay, if you go back to 2008, what happened in 2008 was a global financial crisis.
Okay.
That came out of the mortgage
global meltdown
and mortgage crisis in the US. That affected all the financial systems in the world. It wasn't just peculiar to Nigeria.
Okay, so if the world economy, if there is a problem in any major economy that is a major player in Nigerian economy, so we're likely to have this problem again.
No, yes, we may have problem, but you remember in 2008 we had problem in the market crash because an asset bubble had been created. It was undue bubble created in the market. Aside from the global crisis, our problem was exacerbated by a lot of factors: margin loans, ignorance, head mentality, and all that. All manner of people claim to be stockbrokers. People were not doing due diligence. We are buying smokes in the name of buying shares.
So the NSE must not go to sleep on what is happening now. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I'm very glad and I'm very happy that the NSE we have today, the regulators we have today, are better strengthened, are better structured to ensure that the market structures, the infractions we had in 2008 does not repeat itself. Today, the market rally we are seeing today is not being fueled or powered by margin lows like we had in 2008. In 2008, the banks were chasing everybody to give them margin loan to go and buy shares of their own stock.
Okay.
That is not happening.
What happened in 2008 probably taught a number of people very bad lessons about investment in stocks. There are civil servants at that time who lost huge sums of money. If you go on these premises, you'll find a lot of them. Many of them are still don't have that confidence in the stocks. So with all this good news that we're talking about now, many are still not impressed. They're still skeptical.
I agree with you. I agree with you. I get confronted with those issues on a daily basis. In part of our program is to do education advocacy, and when we meet people to train them and to tell them about the opportunities in the capital market, they keep raising these issues. But yes, we had issues in 2008. It's because on us to sit down and learn our lessons. Where did we get it wrong? Did you do the proper due diligence? Are there still opportunities here? How do I avoid the pitfalls so that I can benefit? Because people are still not happy with what happened, and they are still not convinced. That's why they're not participating in the rally that we are seeing. Nigeria was the third best economy in terms of market returns in 2017.
Yes.
We had a 43% returns.
Yes. Now,
what investment climate or asset class can comparably give you a 43% return? And what had happened because of the apathy we had in the prior years, our asset values, our share values were all-time low. They were underpriced, heavily underpriced. And because share prices were underpriced, we did not see market capital raising, IPOs to raise capital in the capital market in the last 5 years. At best, what we saw were right issues. Right issues is what a capital raising that is issued to already existing shareholders who know the company in and out. But we now saw a depressed pricing that did not give the issuer, did not give the companies that confidence, that hope that if they come to the market to raise money, they will raise money and not dilute their shares and not undersell themselves.
Okay.
And we've seen, because of the apathy, we saw a depressed share valuations for our stocks. And this is what investors have seen, especially foreign investors have said, okay, Nigerian asset prices are very low. They are very cheap.
Yes.
Even at the value we are seeing. Even now, the P ratios, the average P ratios are still below 10.
The lowest valuation in Africa.
Thank you. So we have not scratched the factory. So that is one of the factors that can lead to a sustained rally in the near future.
So the stock market is still a very risky business. You agree?
It's risky to the point that that you cannot say with 100% certainty what will happen tomorrow.
Okay. Now,
that's the extent. Yes. But it's not as risky as other ventures people go into.
Okay. Now, some people say that those who lost the value of their shares in 2008 with what is happening now, if they have not sold their stocks hurriedly, they are likely to get some benefits.
Yes, especially if you bought value. If you bought a going concern, if you bought a company that had a productive venture that we were involved in, that had products people are patronizing, and they had good management that has steadied the course, and we are creating value in terms of profit after tax that is significant.
Okay.
In terms of good management strategy, in terms of track record. I'll give you an instance. In the banking sector, for instance, there are certain stocks that pay as much as 2 naira per share. There are certain banking stocks that do not pay at all. They both operate in the same economy. What's the difference? The difference is a factor of what value the staff force have been able to create for the shareholders.
Okay, now that you mentioned it, I also learned that the oil sector is doing very fine. I mean, the the companies in the oil sector, they are doing very, very fine. I also learned that a company like Dangote too is doing good. Its stock.
What do you mean by doing very fine?
Now, in terms of the value of their shares, in the value of their stocks,
okay,
they say they are doing well. Now, you've mentioned some of the factors that account for this very good performance. Now, how does somebody that wants to invest his money in the stock market, how does he know those companies that, well, okay, they are doing fine today, but tomorrow it may not be so? How do you know a healthy company, a healthy stock in the market?
One thing I would advise for anybody who wants to delve into the stock market investment is, first of all, be willing to learn, be willing and make the sacrifice to study and learn. Now, every company quoted in the Nigerian Stock Exchange is duty bound to publish their quarterly results. Digest that quarterly result. The quarterly result will point out everything about the health of the company. It will tell you whether the company is overtrading, for instance. It's whether the company is paying dividend from borrowed funds. It will tell you whether the company is, paying excessive interest cost or finance costs. It will tell you everything that you need to buy the company. It will tell you, there are what we call financial ratios which you can apply on the P&L, on the balance sheet, on the cash flow statement, on the notes, to know and determine whether this company is really indeed healthy or not. If you are not willing to make that study on your own, it behoves on you to get a knowledgeable, up-to-date, current financial advisor. Okay.
From this celebration that we're having now about the health of the Nigerian stocks, we are likely to go back to pre-2008 era, where so many Nigerians diverted their investments into stocks. And then at the end of all those things that you said happened. People lost their money. And then there are unscrupulous stockbrokers that took advantage. That was the era where we were hearing, people were making humongous amount of money from stocks. Even stockbrokers became millionaires. And that's a question of checks and balances. Now that we are celebrating again the stock market, are we not likely to push people into a market that probably some of those things that we had pre-2008 are still there? People are still very careless people with people's money, and then there is much insincerity in the system. What has changed?
A lot have changed. A lot have changed. Number one, the number of stockbroking houses operating in the Nigerian Stock Exchange are better regulated. They are better capitalized. They've been capitalized, heavily capitalized today, and they are better regulated. Every stockbroking firm have a compliance officer that reports directly to SEC and ensures that we comply with ISA Act and with all the rules and regulations that are bound in Nigeria. There's greater transparency. In fact, the stock market is one of the most over-regulated markets. We have our records in various platforms. We have trading records in the NSE. We have trading records with CSCS, which is a central depository. We also have the same records with the registrars, which keeps register of members of a company. So there is no other transparency you can find anywhere in any asset class. So I don't, and we have strict rules that deals with infrastructures and penalties, stiff penalties. So I don't think if you deal with any licensed stockbroking house, genuine stockbroking house, which you can verify from the NSC website or from SEC website, that you lose your money. Okay.
The program is Nigeria Today, and we are looking at the bullish runs in the Nigerian stock market. We'll take a short break. We'll be right back.
Coming up on NTA News 24, Nigeria Today, 7:30, Monday to Friday, with exciting anchors on topical issues. Inspirators, a search for those who inspire others. Business 24, a business magazine program. Late edition repackaged. Fresh and exciting programming on NTA News 24. Stay with us.
Welcome back. The program Nigeria Today continues. We're taking a look, like I said earlier, at the bullish run in the Nigerian Stock Exchange. Now, Mr. Goodili, let's talk about the advantages of a very good stock exchange like we have today, over 43%. What are the advantages that the current health of the Nigerian stock market, what are the advantages it has on the economy?
Okay, now basically the stock exchange or the capital market is a market for capital formation. Capital formation is where you source funds for long-term projects. Companies that want to expand, government that wants to borrow long-term to fund infrastructure. It is the capital market they run to. Now, given the growing confidence in the market, a whole lot of people who have had funding challenges, who are dependent on short-term loans or short-term commercial loans, now have an opportunity, a window to come to the market and raise long-term capital. Equity capital is the cheapest source of capital. So in the last 5 years, we have had challenges of raising equity capital. Now we have an opportunity because the confidence is coming back. Investors are beginning to look for opportunities. So it gives us an opportunity for capital formation, which will help develop the economy in the long term.
Now, what has government done to bring this situation about? What are those? Because when you were talking about 2015, for instance, you mentioned the number of minuses in the economy. What has really changed? What are those structures that you see on ground that you can point to that these are the efforts of government that made this to come about?
Number one is trying to ensure that there is peace in the Niger Delta. Without peace in the Niger Delta, our production volume will drop.
That's for crude oil.
For crude oil. Our major FX earning is from crude oil. Now, at some point, we are producing about 1.5 million barrels per day. Today, we are back to about 2 million barrels per day, or 2.3 million barrels per day. That is increasing the volume of production and increasing the inflow that comes to our FX. The FX has also moved from 23 to 40, and that's as a result of, one, the volume of crude that we are selling now and the price that has increased. So that's one achievement of government. So we will see the effect that peace, if we now have greater peace in the entire region, in the entire country, we are likely to see better performance in the stock exchange and in the economy generally. Also is the CBN decision to create the FX importers exporters window that is seemingly free, free floating, and allowing market participants to determine the price. That has also engendered confidence in the system. So if once you continue to see a pro-market policies, the market will continue to sustain this rally we are seeing.
Some people say that what we are seeing now in the stock market is as a result of activities of portfolio investors who excuse me sorry for that, who cannot be trusted, and they are ready to leave at the short notice if anything goes wrong. Do you subscribe to this?
Yes, I do. Like I said, the 2017 rally we saw was because portfolio investors who are largely foreign saw, one, underpriced assets, and they also saw policy that it became friendlier for them to participate in, and they saw opportunity. They are there in there for what they will make, not for love of your country, but for the returns they will get for their beneficiaries, for their contributors. So they are hot money, so to say. We call them foreign portfolio investors.
Yes.
So the question we keep asking ourselves: what will make them stay?
Yes. What will make them stay?
What will make them stay? Yes. So what will make them stay is friendly policies.
Okay.
If you return back to a command exchange control, they will panic and run.
Okay. Now,
I will give you an instance.
Yes. Okay. Quickly.
No, I'll give you an instance. If you come back to if CBN goes back to a command FX control, where FX becomes scarce, where you need to know who to be able to source FX.
Yes, they'll run. Now, all this we're saying, I'm sure there is somebody out there, could be a market woman, could be taxi driver, could even be a civil servant, and he's saying, well, all this you are saying is very, very strange. The bottom line remains to me that prices of goods and services are still very high in the market. How does this bullish run in the stock market, how does it affect the ordinary man on the streets? Quickly, because of our time.
Okay, if the ordinary man on the streets have had some form of savings and they have had that in the capital market,
yes,
by the average, if they had investment, the exposure to the capital market, the average return of 40%, he has also enjoyed it.
Okay.
He will be excluded if he did not participate.
Okay.
But because the companies that their share prices are rising are Nigerian-based quoted companies who have operations in Nigeria. As these companies, their fortunes improve, as they raise cheaper funds, they will expand here, they will create more jobs. They will pay more taxes.
Okay.
They will pay more taxes. They will do more corporate social responsibilities. So the economy will become a lot better for it.
Okay. Okay.
And they will attract more foreign direct investment into the economy. So by and large, everybody benefits.
Yeah, in one or two sentences, what will you suggest that should be done to sustain this rally quickly, because of our time?
Good friendly policies, and we ensure that we have policy consistencies, and that we do not sacrifice rational decisions on the altar of politics as we enter into election year.
Okay. I must thank you, Mr. Okudili.
It's my pleasure.
The Vice President, Cowry Assets Management Limited here in Abuja. Thank you for all that you served on the program.
Thank you very much.
This is where we call it a date on the program Nigeria Today for today. Do join us tomorrow for another edition. I am Segun Ojelade. Bye-bye.